Seyne is a commune in the Alpes-de-Haute-Provence department, and in the region of Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur, in southeastern France. It is around 30 kilometers north of Digne. The official name of the municipality, as listed by the INSEE official geographic code, is Seyne. However, it is known at the local level as Seyne-les-Alpes, hitherto not endorsed by a decree. It is not to be confused with the town of Le Seyne-sur-Mer, which is the second town in the Var department. The name of its inhabitants is Seynois. More rarely today, it also uses Seynades and Seynnards locally. Seyne has received the label of a village and town of character. Geography, geology and landforms. The village is situated at an altitude 1,260 meters. The valley bottoms with deep soil and cut hedges in the Seyne Valley are nicknamed the Swiss Provençal. Hydrography. It is crossed by the Blanche, a tributary of the Durance. Communication and transport. Seyne is accessible by the departmental road 900, between Le Loir-Abbé in the north, and Digne in the south. The nearest SNCF railway station is the Gare de Digne. Environment. The municipality has 2,800 hectares of woods and forests. Natural and technological hazards. None of the 200 communes of the department is in the zero seismic risk zone. The canton of Seyne is in Zone 1B, determined by the 1991 classification, based on historical earthquakes, and in Zone 4 according to the probabilistic classification EC8 of 2011. The commune of Seyne is also exposed to 3 other natural hazards: avalanche, wildfire, flood, landslide. Some slopes of the municipality are covered by a medium to strong hazard. The commune of Seyne is more exposed to a risk of technological origin, that of transport of dangerous goods by road. The departmental road 900 can allow for the road transport of dangerous goods. The predictable natural risk prevention plan. The commune was prescribed in 2006 for avalanche, flood, land movement and earthquake risk. The DICRIM does not exist. The following list includes earthquakes felt strongly in Seyne. They exceeded a macroseismic intensity level 5 on the MSK scale. The specified intensities are those felt in the town. The intensity can be stronger at the epicenter. The earthquake of the 22nd of March 1949 with intensity level 5, and an epicenter located in the commune of Loiret. The earthquake of the 20th of March 1983 with an intensity level 5, and an epicenter located in the commune of Seyne. Toponymy. The name of the village, as it appears the first time in 1147, would refer to the Gallic tribe of the Edonates, or would be built on the route *said, for rock, according to Charles Rostaring. According to the Fenny couple, the name comes from a pre-Celtic root Orenum *said. The municipality is named Sana in Vivaro Alpine and Provençal of the classical norm, and Sania in the Maestralian norm. History. Antiquity. Before the Roman conquest, Seyne was the capital of the Edonates. It received the status of civitas under the Roman Empire. Middle Ages. In the Middle Ages, it appeared in charters in 1146 when Ramon Barangay Vive Barcelona forced the submission of the Provençal baronial, who revolted. After taking control of Arles, he summoned the lords of Haute-Provence to Seyne, where they renewed their tribute. The lords were the counts of Provence, who were endowed the consulate as early as 1223, which served as a model to all consulates around. Around the 1220s, a large tower was built to defend the city, which was then called Seyne-le-Grand-Tour. A regional council took place in 1267. The Saint-Jacques Hospital was founded in 1293, followed at the end of the 15th century by the Hôtel Dieu. The death of Queen Jeanne I opened a succession crisis at the head of the Comté de Provence, the towns of the Union of Aix supporting Charles, Duke of Durazzo against Louis I, Duke of Anjou. The community supported the Durazzo side until the 18th of September 1385, and then changed camp to join the Angevins through the patient negotiations of Marie de Blois, Louis I's widow and regent of the son Louis II. The surrender of Seyne involved the communities of Couloubres and Beauvillers. The fair, which was held at Seyne at the end of the Middle Ages, benefited from the crossroads location, and continued until the end of the ancient regime. Seyne was a bailey which subsequently became a seneschal headquarters. This included the communities of Orsay, Bâles, Les Breuils, Montclair, Pontis, Salonnet, Saint-Martin-les-Seynes, Saint-Vincent-Abbé, Verdex, La Venette. The community of Beauvillers had 88 feus at the enumeration of 1316. It depended administratively upon Seyne. In the 15th century, the inhabitants of Beauvillers who wanted to empower themselves were massacred, the survivors deported, and the name of Beauvillers erased from the archives. The community of Couloubres is also attached to 15th-century Seyne. There were 19 feus in 1316, and it also had a consulate. Early modern. With the creation of the printing press, writings and ideas spread, and in the middle of the 16th century, Protestantism was implanted in Seyne. Through the Edict of Amboise, adherents of this religion were allowed to build a temple, but away from the city. The town was captured and looted by the Protestant Captain Paulin de Mauvans in the summer of 1560, during the Wars of Religion. The town was again attacked by Protestants in 1574, who retained it thereafter. The Baron of Germany hid here in 1585, before the offensive of the Catholic League, without preventing the capture of the city by the Duke of Epinal. During the siege, the bell tower was destroyed. At the end of the Wars of Religion, Lesdiguières established a camp where he prepared his campaign for the reconquest of Provence, against the Catholic Leaguers. The Reformation had, despite these fights, some success in Seyne, and a part of the inhabitants remained Protestant. The Protestant community remained into the 17th century around his temple, through the Edict of Nantes. However, the abolition of the Edict of Nantes was fatal, and the community disappeared. The people either emigrated or members were converted by force. In 1656, the two hospitals merged into a single institution. The two were relocated to a single building in 1734. In 1690, the Marquis de Perelle led the Piedmontese army of 5,000 men which descended from the Abbé Valley and besieged Seyne. The city was obliged to negotiate. The medieval enclosure was insufficient to ensure his defense, and the ransom was set at 11,000 livres. However, with the rise of the militia of Provence and the regiment of Alsace, they were driven back. On the 24th of December, funds were unblocked and new bastions built by Nicéen. The new enclosure completed in August 1691, leaving the Great Tower outside of the city, but enhanced. After the more serious alert of 1692, the entire Alpine border was reconsidered by Vauban. On tour in December 1692, he asked for the construction of a citadel including the Great Tower. Richard led the work from 1693 to 1699. Although not satisfied during his trip of inspection in 1700, Vauban failed to modify the fortifications, in part by building redoubts of setbacks in the north. The annexation of Urbay by the Treaty of Utrecht took away enough of the threat for the work to be pushed back indefinitely. In this state, the city was occupied by the Austrasides in 1748 and in 1815, at the end wars of the Empire. The place was almost disarmed at the end of the ancient regime. It had 9 guns served by a garrison of 3 invalids, and an arsenal of 93 guns. The city was the seat of a viguerie until the French Revolution and an office of the Poste Royal at the end of the ancient regime. French Revolution. Shortly before the French Revolution, unrest mounted. In addition to the fiscal problems of several years, the harvest of 1788 was bad and the winter of 1788–89 was very cold. The election of the Estates General of 1789 had been prepared by those states of Provence in 1788 and in January 1789, which had contributed to highlight the political oppositions of class and cause some agitation. At the end of March, at the time of the drafting of the Cahiers de doléances, an insurrectional wave shook Provence. A wheat riot occurred at Seyne on the 29th of March. Peasants gathered, protesting with cries and threatening the wealthy. However, the riot went no further, and caused no change, unlike others in the region. As a first step, the reaction consisted in gathering of the maréchaussée staff on site. Then lawsuits were commissioned by the Parliament of Provence, but convictions were not executed. The lack of convictions was provoked by the storming of the Bastille along with the troubles of the Great Fear. By way of appeasement, an amnesty occurred in early August. The news of the storming of the Bastille was welcomed. This event announced the end of royal arbitrariness and, perhaps, the most profound changes in the organization of France. Immediately after the arrival of the new regime, a great phenomenon of collective fear seized France. For fear of the conspiracy of the aristocrats who wished to recover the privileges, rumors of troops in arms devastating everything in the path propagated at high speed, causing shots of weapons, the organization of militias and anti-nobility violence. This great fear came from Tallard, and awareness of the fear of the Mykonos reached Seyne on the evening of the 31st of July 1789. The consuls of Tarias and Bellefaire, being warned by those at Gap that a troop of 5–6,000 brigands was headed to Haute-Provence after having plundered the Dauphiné, transmitted the news to the consuls of Seyne. Immediately put on alert by the rumor, the consuls of Seyne transmitted the news to Sisteron and Digne, thereby spreading the great fear. They also prevented all parishes within the purview of the vicar of Seyne, and sent messengers to Gap and Embrun to ask news. The arsenal of the citadel of Seyne was requisitioned, and 93 guns and 9 cannons were distributed to Seyne and the villages of Saint-Pons, Celonet and Chardivon. Men came to take refuge with the furniture and the livestock away from the walls of the citadel. In the night, messengers from Rochebrune and La Motte confirmed news, and added that Romans had been sacked. For the south, disquieting news arrived on the occupation of Castellane by 4,000 Barbets and the advance of 1,000 Piedmont in the Durance Valley. On the 2nd of August, the panic declined, with the facts being clarified from the earlier rumors. However, a significant change took place. All communities departments were to be armed, organized to defend themselves and to defend the neighbors. A sense of solidarity was born within communities and between neighboring communities, and the consuls usually decided to maintain the National Guard on foot. As soon as the fear had settled, the authorities recommended to disarm workers and landless peasants, and to keep only the owners of land and businesses in the National Guard. The Patriotic Society of the municipality was created during summer of 1792. 19th century. Seyne gained some industrialization in the 19th century, with the development of textile industries. As with many municipalities of the department, Seyne acquired schools well before the Jules Ferry laws. In 1863, it had 5, the main town, and also installed in the villages of Pompéry, Barchardhaven, Pons and Couloubru. These schools provided a primary education for boys. In the main town, a school for girls was imposed by the Fallow laws of 1851. The commune took advantage of subsidies from the Second-Degree law to rebuild or renovate its schools. Only the Barchardhaven school was not addressed. Politics and administration, trends in policies and results. List of Mayor's environmental policy. Seyne is classified as a flower in the towns and villages floral competition. Administration. A brigade of the National Gendarmerie is located in the main town of Seyne. Population and society. Demographic evolution. In 2012, Seyne had 1419 inhabitants. For the 21st century, communes with less than 10,000 inhabitants have the census held every 5 years. Since 2004, the other figures are estimates. In 2008, the commune was ranked in the 6,862nd position at the national level, while it was in the 6,215th position in 1999, and 22nd at the departmental level of 200 communes. The demographic history of Seyne, after the loss of population of the 14th and 15th centuries, and the long period of growth until the beginning of the 19th century, is marked by a period of spread, where the population remained relatively stable at a high level. This period lasts from 1821 to 1861. The rural exodus then causes a movement of long-term demographic decline. By 1921, the town had lost more than half its population from the maximum of 1846. The downward movement continued until the 1970s. Since then, the population growth has resumed but without returning to the level of 1911. Age pyramid. The population of the commune is relatively old. The rate of people over 60 years age is higher than the national rate and the departmental rate. Like national and departmental allocations, the female population of the commune is greater than the male population. The rate is of a similar order of magnitude as the national rate. The distribution of the population of the commune by age is, in 2007, as follows: 47.8% of men, 52.2% of women. Education. The municipality has 3 educational institutions, 2 schools, a primary school and a kindergarten. The Marcel-André College. Health. A local hospital is located in the municipality. Economy. The economy of Seyne revolves around sports activities and tourism. Industry. Alp Enterprise, active in the building and public works sector, has 15 employees. Tourism. The commune has a downhill ski station at Le Grand Puy and a Nordic skiing station at Col du Fanchet. Formerly, the town had 1 or 2 ski lifts to Colonel Saint-Anne. The long-distance Trail 6, connecting Saint-Foy to Saint-Paul-sur-Aube, crosses Seyne. Local culture and heritage. Sites and monuments. Fortifications. Medieval fortifications remain. The fortified gate of the Rue Bassée, from the 14th century. The Tour Maubert, or Great Tower, a 3-story tower built outside the walls in the 12th century. THS was built to a rectangular plan, 12 meters high. It was connected to the town. It has been reviewed as under restoration. The rest of the enclosure in fact consisted of the walls of the houses built continuously, without openings to the outside. In 1690 to 1691, the engineer Nicket had begun new, much larger, enclosure works with 9 bastion towers, of which 6 survive. These towers were at 2 levels. The lower level was set to a pentagonal plan, which was an innovation of Nicken. These works were reviewed by Vauban, who requested the addition of a citadel during his visit in 1692. The citadel of Seyne was built by Richrand, from 1693, and completed in 1700. This citadel, too narrow, known as Vauban but which did not satisfy him during his inspection trip, dominates the Blanche Valley. 200 meters long by 50 meters wide, it incorporates an old tower modified to accommodate artillery, is equipped with a barracks, and its entry was forbidden, on the side of the town, by a tenai. The enclosure, meanwhile, was completed in 1705. The stronghold, in the front line at the time of its construction, was found in the third line after the Treaty of Utrecht, which reunited the Abbé Valley with France, was defended by 2 invalid companies to the Revolution, and a reduced garrison during the period between 1790 to 1815. The restoration added an advanced battery, a hornwork, a rebuilt door, and added some casemates for rear firing and caponiers. It was decommissioned in 1866, then occupied by a single guard from 1887 to 1907 before being sold. Passed from hand to hand, the commune bought it in 1977, and has since begun restoration work. The enclosure is a listed historic monument. Civil architecture. Several houses of the streets of the old centre date from the 17th century, including the old town hall and a house nearby from 1788, which has an arched gate. Another house, which has always been on the high street, dates from 1605. A further house on the High Street dates from 1708 and nearby, a further one from the end of the Middle Ages, of which the overhang is supported by consoles of wood mouldings. Other houses of the High Street, retained in front of the arches, have characteristic medieval elements. However, these date to the 18th century. The hospital was built in 1734. A carved bench, leather seat, and a 5-foot-long table of beech for the 17th and the 18th centuries, which are currently kept at the town hall, originally came from the hospital. These items are classified as historic monument objects. Several farms in the commune are fortified. The Church of Our Lady of Nazareth. The Church of Our Lady of Nazareth, Romanesque style, has completely retained its primitive appearance. Legendarily attributed to Charlemagne, the actual construction of the present building can be traced back to the middle of the 12th century. The western facade is decorated with a large rose window with 12 rays. It is also decorated with a sundial, composed on a marble slab, dating from 1878. The old porch has disappeared. Its arching portal has retained its carved capitals. The nave, 8.5 meters long and 14.5 meters high, is composed of 3 arched barrel bays, and is separated with a double roll of a double arch. The choir has a flat survey and is also barrel vaulted. Before the choir, 2 side chapels form a false transept. The portal of the south facade is Gothic. It has the distinction of being framed by 2 separations of arches which rely on the surrounding buttresses. The gate leaves date to 1631. The spire was rebuilt after the siege of the Duke of Epinal. Some works of consolidation were made in 1967. The capitals are carved human faces and characters with the bodies twisted by the torments that devils impose upon them. The baptismal fonts are 4 meters diameter. The church is a classified historic monument since 1862. The Holy Family altarpiece was painted directly onto the panel of the retable in archaic style during the 17th century. The wood-carved decorated pulpit, dating back to the turn of the 17th and 18th centuries, is classified. The furniture of the church includes several processional crosses, which one of silver is decorated with champlevé enamels, a wood carving in high relief of Mary Magdalene, and golden. The altar and the tabernacle of the convent of the Dominicans, in gilded wood, a picture of the Holy Family. A font in marble of Morin, a tabernacle placed under a baldachin at 6 feet coming from the convent of the Trinitarians. Finally, the priest has full vestments, satin brocaded, with colorful ornaments, and with an undecorated cross of a landscape. For the 18th century, this is a unique set for the department, and is also classified as an historic monument object. Dominican Church. The Church of the Dominicans, of classic style, is built on a relatively complex plan. In the nave with 6 bays, each wide span is followed by a narrow span, all flattened and barrel-vaulted. The narrow spans were filled with an oeil de boeuf. The wide aisles are square bays. The 6 reliquary busts, from the 17th century, are still archaic style and are classified as historic monument objects. The church is decorated with a crucifixion of the 17th century, where Christ is surrounded by all the instruments of the Passion and with 2 penitents and 2 angels, and is also classified. The convent, which forms part of the church, was built in 1683 and is a registered monument. The veil of the St. Sacrament of the church is golden embroidered silk. It represents 2 angels in prayer on either side of an altar on which a silver lamb is sacrificed. This veil has been a classified object since 1908. Chapels. The town still has many chapels, that of the Penitents, with a 3-sided steeple, from the 17th–18th century. The Chapel of St. Pons, in St. Pons, whose furniture includes a silver chalice from the 17th century, which is a classified historic monument object. The chapels of the hamlets of Bar-Chardavon, of Haute-Chardavon at Couloubru, and La Haute-Mort at Pompieri, at Rémusats, and of Haute-Savonne. Museums. Eco-museums, the Tailor, the Old School, the Brigade and the Forge. Events. Each year, during the second weekend of August, the last horse competition in France is held at Seyne. During the second weekend of October, an autumn fair is organized. Notable people. Antoine Laugier, born in Seyne, died in Aix in 1709, historian of the Order of the Trinitarians. The writer Jean-Paul Jacques Clarion, born October 12, 1776 in St. Pons, pharmacist to the Army of Italy. The historian Abbot Alibert. The family of Rémusat. Pierre-Antoine Chauvet, member of the Legislative, born in Seyne. Marc-Antoine Savonne, deputy to the National Convention during the French Revolution, born in Seyne. François Masset, member of the National Assembly from the 1970s to 1990. Eugene Mitchell, born in Seyne, member of Parliament in 1871 and senator from 1876 to 1885. Pierre-Martin Borrelli de la Sape, born in Seyne, in Algeria, farmer, first mayor of Boufféry, mayor of Blida, officer of the Légion d'honneur, General Council of Algiers, chairman of the USDA of Algiers Advisory Committee, member of many commissions. See also Boufféry, a page of colonization of Algeria. Colonel Troumlet. Sylvain Wojak, mannequin, writer. Heraldry. Bibliography. Collier, Raymond. La Haute-Provence Monumental et Artistique. Dina, Imprimerie Louis Jean. Baratier, Edouard. W. Georges. Hildesheimer, Ernest. Atlas historique, Provence. Comtat Venaissin, Principauté d'Orange, Comté de Nice, Principauté de Monaco, Paris. Library Armand Collin. Lechenet, Frank. Pleinseal sur Vauban, editions Cadre Pleinseal, pp. 220–221. ISBN 97829528557-0-17.